This is Brad A. Milford with the Unlimited Business Wisdom Podcast, where leaders, seasoned entrepreneurs, and business owners share their wisdom. It's straight to the point to respect people's time, and because we know knowledge and wisdom turn to business possibility, and possibility mixed with support and action become reality. In this podcast, we discuss leadership, sales, marketing, operations, team development, quality, and finance to drive sustainable results and everlasting impact to make the world a better place. Thanks for joining us. Shane, welcome to the Unlimited Wisdom Podcast, business podcast, right? So excited that you're here. Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me, Brad. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolute pleasure. I'm excited to have this conversation with you. What you're into, what you've done is super fascinating. So if you'd be kind enough to share with the audience a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Shane Foss. I'm the founder CEO of Hooray Health, and we provide meaningful, affordable benefits for hourly and lower income families. That's what we do as a company.
A well needed industry in the market and in the world that we live in today. So I'm fascinated to dive in a little bit more to that, Shane. Shane, you have a tremendous amount of business experience, right? In a wide variety of events, right? You have lots of accomplishments and whatnot. What's the best thing for you about being in business?
I love meeting people. I'm very fascinated about, just people in general. I like that connection with people. Sales has always been, my focus, but it's kind of more my passion. I grew up with my grandfather as, one of my best friends, and, and he was such a people person, and people respected him. And I really, I guess I got his curiosity bug. And so, I love working with people and, towards a common goal. And, it's fun because I think that during my career, starting from day one, everything was, you kind of always get the bad stuff, right? That you get hired and they never hire you to take over the good stuff, right? I mean, and I learned you don't want to do that either. But, so I'm a learner, and I love a challenge. And so, every place I've ever been, we've always taken over things and improved them, and then, end up winning as a team, which to me is incredibly rewarding. And that's really what I love about business.
Love there's so much rolled up into what you just said. Grandfather likely was one of your mentors, and that's what I heard.
Absolutely.
So starting from an early age, we're in the people business. I love hearing answers.
Well, you're always in the people business, right? I mean, I think no matter what you do, it's so important. I taught both my kids, you've got to connect with people. And I don't care if you're in IT, if you're, you've got to learn to have that emotional intelligence, that EQ, to where you can read people, you can, but it can't be fake, right? You have to have that, that humility and that genuine interest in people. And, I lucked out, both my kids have it, and, I'm very lucky.
Nice. You sound really proud. I think that's amazing. I love it.
I am.
This is a fun question. It's a question that I love to ask the guests as an integrator myself, an operational guy. We hear from other business owners that are getting so much business sometimes that amount of business causes some chaos or the feelings of overwhelm. Would you be willing to share your thoughts on that topic, Shane?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got it myself, right? I think that it's, life is a balance, and unfortunately, whether you're a business owner or a business leader, it's incredibly important to have balance, and it gives you perspective. And so with me, I've got a pretty good schedule, in the sense that, work out in the morning to, get my body going. I, try to cut it off at a reasonable hour, go home and, make dinner with my wife. And, we're grounded in faith, we're grounded with the family. And so I think that, you have to have, you have to have perspective in your life. And one of the things that we do as a family now, both my children are involved. We go to Guatemala every year for medical mission, and my wife actually heads up 3 medical mission trips. I go on one, my kids each go on one. And, I think it gives you perspective on, what's really important. And, money's important. I get it, but it's not everything. Right. And so, so I think when I talk to people that are really stressed about what's going on in their life, and, sometimes, you've just got to talk to somebody. Right. But I think B, sometimes you got to put things in perspective. And, if you miss a deal, if, you miss a number, it's life goes on, and you need to be able to adjust and be honest with yourself. How do I adjust and overcome? Right. And that's, that's kind of how I look at life. But it is stressful.
I love what you shared there. Balance, so important. Even some hints of you speaking into about boundaries around that, right? So having balance in not just one area, not just the money and not just the business, right, but in all areas, spirituality, right, and relations and everything. So it's great stuff. And then not only just boundaries, but having perspective. And you said perspective a couple times, so I want to highlight that. Right, I'm sure that was intentional. And having perspective, and having people to support you and speak to in the world today is super important. So for anyone, great stuff, Shane.
Absolutely,
great stuff. The next question is super fun. Who else, Shane, successful like yourself, of course, ought to be on the Unlimited Wisdom podcast?
Well, I've got a ton of friends that should be on here, but I think somebody that'd be very interesting would be David Fike. He's the accident health business leader. I can't remember if he's considered CEO of A&H or if he's president, global president, but he's a really good friend and somebody that I've been very impressed with. And so I think he's somebody that you should have on. I think we can all learn a lot from him.
I love that. I love how you shared a little bit about him and what he's into as well. So look forward to maybe having him on the podcast as well. Shane, we're going to get to the crux of this. And there's a couple questions. So everybody listening and watching, I want you to hang with us. We're going to talk about, the components of building a team a little bit and some team-focused motivation and times of uncertainty and things like that. But there's one question I'd like to dive in with you. And I know this is a challenging question, Shane, with all of your experience, right? Your vast experience in business. What is one piece of wisdom that you would share from the years of experience that you have with other business owners, Shane?
I think the number one thing that people forget is your people are your business, right? A lot of people get caught up in their own hype, right? Our business is so success. It was an overnight success, and it's me. And I think that's a challenge. And I think that you're not going to win unless you're focused on the team. And we've had, with COVID for us, it was incredibly difficult. And this is our 7th year in business. And, we didn't know if we were going to make it. And, we were, instead of kind of taking a step back and kind of seeing what the market was doing, we really focused internally on improving our processes, building new processes, new capabilities, really kept everybody focused on the end goal, which is to continue to grow. And we got through that, and we never lost anybody. We've been in business 7 years, and I think we've had to let go of a couple people, but we've got 25 employees, and we've never had anybody leave voluntarily, except one time, which it was a good friend of mine that had an incredible opportunity, which we wanted her to take. But other than that, we haven't lost anybody. And I think it's because, people know that, they're our focus, and, we're here to win as a team, and, they're important to us. And that's really important for the business and the stability of your business, because high turnover really sends a bad message, especially when you're sitting there telling everybody how successful you are, but everybody's leaving.
Yeah, great points. And I'm seeing a theme here: teamwork, people orientation. Right now, I'm definitely seeing a theme. I love it.
Yeah.
And it's challenging in these days and times. It's not like it was 50 years ago. So in these days and times, let's face it. Let's be real. Let's speak honestly and openly. Right? It's not like it was. And hearing you share, Shane, that over the course of 7 years, that people are staying with you and they're loyal to the business and to the team. That is, I celebrate you for that. Kudos, truly, because nowadays most people are staying with jobs a year, 2 years, and moving on. That was not a regular occurrence 50 years ago, right? But it is today. So that's congratulations.
Thanks.
Shane, how do you keep a team focused and motivated during times of uncertainty? What have you learned about that space?
Well, I think that communication and still having, your key performance metrics and, goals, even though you have to adjust those goals, still having those goals and keeping expectations, right? I think that, during uncertainty, sometimes you get people that are apologetic for the business, and business is just like life, right? You have ups and downs. I think you have to refocus, reprioritize, and but you have to communicate, and I think you need to be honest. And so we've always had a really good team. We've got a good open relationship, and I think that the ability to have candor and honesty is good.
Love that. All of that. Sincerely, there's no way I can love that more. One of the things, as you were speaking, I just kept thinking, be rigid in the goal, but flexible in the approach. That's what I really heard you say, if I were to summarize that.
Yeah.
But we touched on KPIs and having that clarity of what you're trying to achieve, right? So important with the team. But when times get uncertain and chaos sets in, and rallying around that can be challenging, right? So
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
appreciate what you're sharing there. Is there one thing that you can think of that's really worked for you in the area of building teamwork and rallying the team? Anything stand out for you,
Well,
Shane?
I think just having credibility with the team has been the one thing, because always, again, it goes back to people, just having a relationship with all of your coworkers. You can't just have a relationship when times are bad, right? And you need something. You want people to care about you, and but in turn you have to care about them. And so I think that that's really the focus, is building those relationships. And that's one of the things I've always done, because I just, again, I go back to, my grandfather. I always just really cared about people and enjoy that aspect of life. And I think people know that. They know that, you're sincere, and they know that you truly care about them. It's not just, you're coming in, looking at a piece of paper. Oh, I need to ask them how their mom is. It's, which look, I know it's hard for some people. But kudos for them, going that far to do it. But I think that's a real key for, anybody to be successful, or any business to have a good team.
Yeah, I relate to that. And I think for anybody listening and watching and saying, hey, that's me. I've done that. I've had to do that. I celebrate you too, because not everybody is as people focused naturally, right? Some are more task oriented and some are more people oriented, but we can build the skill, right? There's plasticity, and we can build the skill. So I think what you're saying here, Shane, is really important, because we are in a people business. No matter what, it's a people business, no matter what business you're in, no matter where you're headed. It's all about the relationships and the people and the team. So big, strong theme here. And I love hearing what you're sharing, Shane.
Yeah.
How has the transition to remote work improved your ability to lead? Or do you have any thoughts you'd like to share about what we've been through over the last couple of years?
Well, I think, video conferencing certainly has helped, right? I think that makes a big difference, but being able for there's a positive and a negative. I think the negative is you do lose some of that camaraderie. Um, and I just remember as a young professional going into the office and excited to be with, my coworkers and build those relationships. And it's harder over the video conferencing. But on the flip side, we've been able to expand our talent pool because now we have people in Arizona. We have a really nice group of people in Arizona. We have a really nice group of people in South Carolina, and they wouldn't have been able to work. I mean, we wouldn't even have looked at them before, right? But now we're able to, expand our and really build a solid team because we're not just limited to Dallas, which isn't a bad thing, but Dallas is a good market. But I think the virtual has definitely helped there. I think it helps with expenses, it helps with stress. And I did learn a long time ago, before all of this happened, probably about 15 years ago. I had a team of girls or excuse me, ladies that I worked with that they were our customer service, and they asked to work from home, and we looked at their metrics and watched them. And I told them, I said, well, we're going to look at this for 6 months, then we'll evaluate. And their issue was they were driving in from a long way, and they had tolls, and it was expensive. Well, they came in every Friday to kind of stay connected, and we looked at them, and they were expanding from, they were getting in the office at 8:30 and then really getting online at 9. They were starting at 7 o'clock, and so in the morning, and so we found that they were a lot more productive and they were happier. So I think
I love that.
you just got to be creative and be honest with yourself. Is it more of an ego thing that everybody has to be in the office, or is it mandatory? And sometimes it is, by the way. I absolutely believe that.
I love this conversation, and it's an important one for the world we live in today. Shane, right around this topic, in line with this topic, would you think, because there's I hear lots of talk, and I imagine you do too, about culture, right? Building culture, and we're talking about people, we're talking about team, and
Right.
There's a lot of talk about culture in the world we live in the woke world that we live in today. And so this virtual versus in person, I love hearing your perspective on that. Is there anything, so that I think there's good and bad to just anything, right? Or there's polarity, if you will. You've shared some of the good, right? So the expansive talent pool that you can pull from, right? Is there anything missing that you think from the virtual that is present in person? And can you put your finger on that or speak into that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you do miss the personal interaction, right? The walking down the hall, just grabbing a couple people to sit down and solve a problem, right? Quick. I think the other thing is, it is harder to manage, making sure that, look, if you have the right people, they're doing the job and they're excelling. But there is an ability to kind of get lost sometimes. If you're a new employee and you're virtual and everybody, or I should say everybody, but a lot of people are here, it can be challenging. And so it's hard, they can kind of get left behind if you don't have a real good process in place to make sure that they're getting the training that they need and the interaction. So, it's that's kind of the downfall I see, and that can be a can be a challenge, but nothing you can't overcome.
Oh, love love all that, but the last piece, nothing you can't overcome, right?
Right.
Shane, I'm going to ask you one more question. We're going to shift gears a little bit. What's the biggest leadership challenge you've faced in your career today?
COVID was probably it, because financially, that was pretty devastating for us, because we had gone through our Series B financing, and there was so much uncertainty in the world. we kept all of our clients, but getting new clients was incredibly difficult because nobody knew what was going on. So everybody just kind of stayed there. So we weren't able to get new business. And so, we had big growth expectations. We had a lot of momentum, and that was really challenging. And so, working with investors, trying to raise money to, bridge that gap was incredibly difficult. And so, there were a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of lonely days, but we got through it. And again, there's, you got to have patience. You've got to, you got to have persistency, and you just have to have the courage to, keep pushing forward, because I think that's where, really, really caring about your team really puts a lot of pressure on yourself to make sure that you're doing what's best for them, right? And so, because obviously I feel a huge responsibility for them and their families and their future, and so, making sure that we get it right and get the best deal. And so, that was probably the most difficult time out of my whole career, probably.
Thank you for sharing that. And in the internet world we live in, we hear lots of stuff on the internet, right? And lots of it is like, things are great, it's lovely, it's perfect. And but having conversations like this, to share with the world, is like, hey, things aren't always perfect. There's challenges, but you can overcome it. It's really important to have that
Yeah.
aspect of hope.
Well, that's why I don't like social media. I just think that if you watch social media too much, you always feel like a failure, because everybody else is driving the Lamborghini and throwing money out the door and and you're sitting over here, what am I doing wrong?
Right on. More like a movie than it is reality. But
Right.
I really appreciate your authenticity and you being honest. Shane, I'm going to ask you a question about vacation, because I ask every guest that, and I love that. And it gives them a chance to get to know a little bit about, some fun stuff that you're working in. I'd really love to. You have been extremely humble on this, and I know you haven't. I mean, you have so many accolades that have brought you to this moment of where you're helping people within the healthcare space. Would you be willing to just rave about yourself unabashedly? Tell us a little bit about what you're doing, how you're helping people in the healthcare space, what you've done to date, and then a little bit of the vision moving forward. Would you be
Sure.
willing to share?
Yeah, absolutely. So look, our vision is very simple. We help people by providing affordable and meaningful benefits, and to increase access to healthcare. And I'm incredibly proud of what we do, because we take care of the population that nobody wants to take care of. I always call them our people, right? When we're talking to employers, and and some of them are they're just, yeah, I'm sure it can be difficult to high turnover, hourly rate, sometimes they're making a little bit more, but it's not the most stable population, but they need benefits, and healthcare is a confusing place. So I think that we've done an incredible job to provide access to healthcare system to those people, and that's what our focus is. And I think as a team, what's exciting to me is that we've improved our product so much over the last 7 years. When we started 7 years ago, our product had half the benefits for $99, and now we've got double the benefits at $65, right? And we're not major medical, and we're not trying to be, but I think we've really, from a user experience standpoint, a communication standpoint, and an experience standpoint, we've always focused on making sure that our vision is upfront, and that's affordable and meaningful benefits, right? We're not trying to put in any fluff. We're not trying to, I think we've done a great job doing that, and I'm really looking forward to the next 10 years, because we've got some really good partnerships, and we're expanding quickly, and so it's been a lot of fun.
I love that. I love hearing what you're sharing. Real people, real life, this is real stuff, right? We can talk here virtually. You can be joining us, listening to us on the podcast or watching us on video, but
Yeah.
these are real lives, real people that we're talking about. So you're
Absolutely.
creating true impact, Shane, and I celebrate you for that. I always say that we work to live and not live to work. Common statement, right? Old maxim, right? And I imagine you share that too. So aside from the business, let's dive into the most fun vacation you've ever had. Would you be willing to share?
Yeah.
What's the most fun vacation you've ever had, Shane?
Easy. My wife and I last year for our 25th wedding anniversary that got pushed off 2 years from COVID, we went to Rome for a week, and then we did a Rhine River cruise up from Switzerland all the way up to Netherlands, and it was incredible 2 weeks. It was just such a nice time. We had so much fun in Rome. We love Italy, and we'd never been on a riverboat cruise, and so we were dying to do that. So that was an incredible time. We love to travel, experience new areas, new foods, and so it was really a lot of fun.
I love it. I love hearing stories like that because we work so hard. So enjoying some of that time. I mean, I'm sure we love what we do. You, in fact, I want to celebrate you again. The moment I connected with you, I asked how you were doing, and you said, "I'm loving it. I love what I do." So you truly mean it, and I know that to be
Living
true.
the dream.
It's great. It's great stuff. Shane, thanks so much for taking a chunk out of your day to be here to serve, to connect with others, to share the word of how you're creating impact in the world. When somebody watches this or they listen to it and they say, this guy, Shane, I have to reach out to this guy. What's the best way for them to reach out and explore what you're doing?
I'm on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn if you want to connect directly, or you can get a hold of us at hoorayhealth.com. That's HOORAY health.com. And love to connect.
Love that. And I want to encourage you, if you've listened and you watched and you've gotten to this point, do something different, right? Actually do. It's great to listen to the podcast, but do something different. If this intrigues you, if this resonates with you, if you want to explore it, yes, check out the website. I've been on there. It's a great site. But reach out to someone, have a conversation, explore, dive into these topics and take it to the next level, right? It's all about people, as you heard it from Shane.
Yeah.
Shane, thanks for joining me. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Brad. Really appreciate it.
This is Brad A. Milford with the Unlimited Business Wisdom Podcast, where leaders, seasoned entrepreneurs, and business owners share their wisdom. If you're looking for more on leadership, sales, marketing, or operations to drive team development, higher quality, and high-level sustainable profits, we encourage you to join the Built for Brilliance community on Facebook or reach out to us about one of our mastermind groups, coaching or consulting, or even fractional COO services. You can reach us at buildbrilliance.net/contact. We thank you for listening, for sharing the show, and appreciate your rating and reviews, as this makes more shows possible. Thanks for joining us.